Mokele-Mbembe, the Congo's living dinosaur. They say, somewhere deep in the Congo Basin, a creature bigger than an elephant still moves through the swamps, a living dinosaur that locals call Mokele-Mbembe. I wouldn't have believed it myself, until Camille vanished. Dr. Camille Duval and I crossed paths years ago at a Cryptozoology conference in Kinshasa. She was sharp, fearless and obsessed with one thing, proving the impossible. When she told me she was heading into Likwala, I warned her that expedition teams don't always come back. But Camille didn't scare easily, and that's why I have to tell her story. A soft dawn mist rolled across the white, muddy river as Camille crouched at the edge of a cracked canoe. Beside her, a local trekker named Bakari squinted at the strange footprints pressed deep into the riverbank. Round, massive, like no hippos she'd ever seen. They pushed off in silence, paddling into the labyrinth of tangled vines and ancient trees. The jungle hummed with insects and distant calls. But beneath it all, there was something else. The sense that something huge was moving just out of sight. Long before any European explorers set foot in the Congo, local tribes spoke of a monster that could stop the flow of mighty rivers. They called it Mokele-Mbembe, the one who blocks the river. I'd spent years piecing together the threads, stories from the Lingala, Baka and Bayaka people all describe a creature with a body like an elephant's, but with a long snake-like neck and powerful tail. Something that sounded suspiciously like a sauropod that never went extinct. Some elders still whisper that when hunters find a section of the river where fish have fled and the water moves strangely, they know Mokele-Mbembe is near. It's said the beast hates canoes and fishermen, overturning boats that come too close to its territory. Colonial hunters in the early 1900s brought these tales back to Europe. Carl Hagenbeck, the famous animal trader, heard so many rumors that he publicly declared he believed a real dinosaur might still roam the Congo's hidden swamps. A German expedition followed, claiming to have seen massive three-toed footprints pressed into the mud. I once found an old journal from 1927 written by a Belgian missionary who vanished upriver. He described hearing a deep bellow echo through the night and finding entire sections of forest flattened, trees snapped like twigs, but no creature large enough to do it. The final pages mention a local guide who refused to paddle any further. The last entry ends mid-sentence. We saw the neck rising from the reeds. The missionary was never found. Even in recent decades, cryptozoologists have tried to find proof. Some bring sonar equipment, some drones, some nothing but notebooks and mosquito nets. And always the same. A glimpse, a wake, a footprint too big to fake, but never enough to convince the world that the Congo still hides a living relic. But what made me certain wasn't the evidence, it was the way the locals spoke about it. Not as a myth, but as an animal, something that simply belongs to the swamp, older than memory, moving in a silence where no road reaches. What if the last dinosaur never died, just slipped deeper into the places we still can't map? Deep inside the swamp, Camille's camp was nothing more than a blue tarp stretched between two rotting trees. At night the jungle closed in, the calls of monkeys echoing above, the drone of insects filling every silence. Bakari and the other trekkers sat huddled around a small fire, refusing to push further downriver. "The spirit lives there," Bakari said, his eyes fixed on the black water. It kills the fish. It kills the boats. It stops the river. Camille stared at the drone footage on her tablet, blurred shapes beneath the canopy, a strange dark form cutting through the water before the signal dropped. She replayed it again and again, pausing on the single frame that showed a shadow so massive it dwarfed the trees along the bank. She glanced at the footprints, drying in the mud just beyond the firelight, each one wider than a car tire. Something was out there. At dawn, when the mist rolled back over the river, Camille knew they'd have to risk it, push deeper than anyone before. This story is brought to you by Audible. For more myths, monsters and lost legends, check out the link in the description and start your free trial today. Now back to the river. The canoe glided through a narrow channel, choked with reeds and hanging vines. Dawnlight filtered through the mist, painting the water in silver streaks. Camille held her breath as Bakari dipped his paddle soundlessly. The drone lay tucked in her pack. No signal could pierce this deep. Then the reeds ahead shivered, knew before. A slow, rising ripple spread across the water. Something massive, larger than any hippo. Camille's eyes widened at the long sinuous neck swaying just above the mist. Rough grey skin glistened in the morning light. The creature let out a deep guttural rumble that rattled through the swamp. Its tail slapped the water, sending waves crashing into the canoe's sides. Bakari shouted, shoving the paddle into the mud to push them back. The canoe lurched as Camille fumbled for a camera, but the roar drowned out every thought. Branches snapped somewhere behind them. The beast shifted its bulk, churning up the riverbed. Camille felt the current drag them forward, closer to its massive form. Paddle, Bakari screamed. They plunged the oars into the murky water, hearts pounding. Behind them, the monster's roar echoed off the ancient trees as the canoe skidded downriver, swallowed by the mist. Long after the echoes of the roar faded into the jungle, Camille's footage remained locked away, a blurry shape in a swamp no one wants to believe in. But I know the legend will keep growing. I still listen to the stories. Fishermen whispering about overturned canoes, trekkers who swear they've heard the rumble of something enormous beneath the river's surface. In a world mapped by satellites, maybe the last dinosaur hides in the shadows of places we can't reach, waiting for the next explorer to drift too close. What else survives where our maps end?